And like, so at that time, you was training with Christian at the Nosey
Yeah.
Academy. Um, when do you become involved in Team Underground? Was
Yeah.
that through John Haggerty and he's?
Yeah, because the Noisy Academy and Team Underground, they had a really close
Mm,
relationship before I even went to Team Underground because of Jonathan Haggerty. Christian Knowles was his head coach, and his dad was John Haggerty, and they owned Team Underground. So the gym was always connected,
yeah.
anyways. Little Fred, he's not little anymore. Fred used to come up to Noisy, and we had a really good relationship. And I just obviously trained at the Noisy Academy. And one day I literally just went to Interclub. One day I was like, when they put me to spar David Cooke
Yeah.
from Team Underground, and he literally bashed my head in. I was like, what the hell? But when I talked to Steve afterwards, he was like, I was just looking for more sparring partners,
Mm,
really, people my size, juniors. I was only about 17, more teen. They had a really good teen squad, so I was just looking for sparring, and Steve was like, yeah, come sparring and do jiu-jitsu as well. I was like, yeah, when's the sparring? He
yeah.
said, yeah, and do jiu-jitsu. I was just like, when's the sparring? And then I kept messaging him about sparring, but then one day he was just like, just come jits, and I'd done it, and I got smoked by everyone.
So you actually went there just for kind of sparring. You
Yeah.
didn't really go there for the intention of making the transition to MMA?
No, I hated MMA.
Yeah, wow.
For like the first, I literally, before I went there, like even like 4 years ago, if you asked me about MMA, I hated the sport. I was like, oh, why do you wanna? You watch MMA for the stand up? Then just watch Muay Thai, just watch
Yeah.
K1. Like, why do I want to hug people on the ground? I just want to punch people in the face, and that's what I do in Muay Thai. But like, I kind of, when I was 18 years old, 17, 18 at the time, I was in college, and I was kind of at a crossroads. Because like my tutor was like, okay, don't, it's about uni, or like, what's your plans for the future? Are you gonna have like a part-time job, or go for education, or do apprenticeships? And I didn't know what to do. All I knew is that I don't want to work a normal job.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, as much as I love Muay Thai, you can't really make a living off of Muay Thai. Especially back then, 5 years ago, there was no such thing as ONE FC. Like, there was, but it wasn't as mainstream as it was now. So I was like, that wasn't an option. And I was like, what's the options? Boxing or MMA? So I was like, okay, my boxing was trash back then. So that is not an option. So I was like, I like kicking too much anyway. So I was like, let me just try MMA. And I went to the gym, Team Underground, and I just loved the vibe. Everyone was so caring, so helpful. Even though they smashed me, they're like, Steve was like from day dot, oh, you're going to be UFC champion, you're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. Had no intention of fighting MMA. He's like, you'll have your amateur debut end of the year. This was at January times. I was like, yeah. Never ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And literally 4 months later, he was like, do you want to have a amateur MMA fight in 5 days? I was like, why not?
Yeah.
And I did, and I TKO'd in the first round, and the rest is history.
What was it like for you as like a pure striker, like making that transition to MMA, like you're saying with the ground game and finding it tough with your training partners at the time, but in all,
It was hard. Like to be brutally honest, it was hard. Like not even physically, like it was mentally hard. Like especially for me, coming from that UK #1 sport in Muay Thai, and come from the top at one sport to go home crashing down all the way to the bottom of another sport and working your way back up. Like, I'm happy for myself that I don't have a big ego in that way. That I'm like, okay, I can lose the rounds. And like one thing I really like about myself is that if I lose a round, I don't take it to heart. I question myself. I'm like, okay, why did I lose this? How did I lose this? How can I get better? When am I going to get better? And I ask questions that I want to get better. If I'm bad at something, I want to get good at something. So if I get caught with submission, I was like, okay, how did I defend this? How did I do this? So I just love learning. So I just kept learning. I was like, if I do jiu-jitsu for 2 years straight, I have to be good at it. Yeah. And that was my mentality. I was like, it's okay if I get smashed by everyone else. One day I'm going to smash them. And that day did happen. So I just believed myself in myself from the beginning.
And it must have been helpful, like considering who you had around you, David Cooke, Chloe Cooke, because they were Muay Thai and kickboxing. They were strikers too, weren't they? So they wasn't, started off from the beginning as MMA fighters.
Yeah, so I was just looking at them as well. We were kind of like around the same age, so we really got putting the work in together, and we kind of grind together. We was on the journey together as well of becoming the best MMA fighters from striking base. Like a lot of people, they're like, okay, you're striker, you're jiu-jitsu, wrestling. But we just want to become like all-rounded, which I'm trying to become now. Like have a level playing field.
Yeah.